Hello and welcome back to the Crime Reel. Today we are looking at a heartbreaking case from 2001 which took place in an exclusive area of Los Angeles. On Saturday the 17th of November 2001, several teenagers were getting ready to go to party at a house in Thayer Avenue in Westwood, which was an upmarket area full of beautiful homes, professional residents and above average schools. The house was owned by Shelley and Barbara Hendler, who had gone to Las Vegas for the weekend, leaving their two teenage sons at home. Initially starting out at about 15 or so invited guests, as word got around that there was a house party with no parental supervision and free-flowing alcohol, the number of partygoers rapidly increased. Some sources claim that there were up to 100 teenagers in attendance, whilst others put the number at around 40. Two 15-year-olds whose paths crossed for the first time that night were Deanna Maran and Sabrina Bernstein. Deanna was a student at Santa Monica High School, where she excelled both academically and athletically. She was on the school's volleyball, track and water polo teams and was described as an outstanding student, the sort that teachers love to have in their class. She had 3 older sisters and a younger brother. Her friends referred to her as Daring Deanna, as she was someone who would always stand up for what was right, defend her friends and take on any bullies. Sabrina Bernstein lived in the exclusive Brentwood neighbourhood with her mum, Angelique, and her 17-year-old half-sister, Katrina. Angelique and Sabrina's father, Matthew, were going through an expensive divorce. By all accounts, Angelique spoiled her daughters rotten and overindulged them with all the luxuries that money could buy. At the party that evening, Deanna noticed that Sabrina was running around and had caused some damage to some potted plants in the garden. Deanna called out Sabrina, telling her to be more careful and respectful towards other people's property. This wasn't an unusual stance for Deanna. She was the sort of person who would pitch in to clear up after parties, make sure that everything stayed calm and that there was no damage caused. However, Sabrina did not appreciate being told what to do. An argument followed, which turned physical and ended when Deanna pushed Sabrina to the ground. Sabrina walked away and called her sister, Katrina, to tell her what had happened. Friends warned Deanna that she should be careful, as Katrina had a particularly bad reputation. Whilst Katrina had been blessed with beauty, money and a normal, happy childhood, when she hit her early teens, her life took a turn for the worse. She became increasingly angry, started skipping school and became aggressive towards other students. She also began abusing drugs and alcohol. Her parents withdrew her from Harvard Westlake, the most prestigious school in the city, and sent Katrina to a therapeutic residential facility in Utah in the hope that this would help her. It was recommended that she remained at the facility for between 9 months and a year. During her time there, she was involved in more altercations with other residents and attempted to run away. After less than 6 months at the facility, her mother brought her home for a visit, but Katrina never returned. A therapist later recommended that Katrina attended Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. Her mother responded that she would not allow her daughter to associate with lowlife. By this point, Katrina had dropped out of the traditional schooling system and was instead being homeschooled by her mother. In reality, Katrina would refuse to get out of bed during the day and would want to go to clubs and parties every night. She became nocturnal and was prescribed antidepressants for what her mother referred to as a sleep disorder. Her behaviour became ever more troublesome. She started sneaking out of the house and engaging in indiscriminate sexual activity. She assaulted her own mother on multiple occasions in the family home. At around 10:30 on the night of the 17th of November 2001, Katrina arrived at the party, demanding to know who had pushed her sister to the ground. Deanna, who was not one to back down, stated that she was the one who had pushed Sabrina. Katrina then assaulted Deanna. After what looked like a quick punch to the chest, Deanna fell to the ground and Katrina and Sabrina quickly ran away. The fight was over as quickly as it had begun. As Deanna's friends came to her aid, they saw that she was bleeding heavily from her chest. She hadn't just been punched, she had actually been stabbed. In a state of panic, her friends decided to drive Deanna to the hospital rather than calling 911 and waiting for the emergency services to arrive. They were in an unfamiliar area and as such did not realise that they were close to the UCLA Medical Center, instead driving to the more familiar Santa Monica Hospital. Upon arrival at the hospital, Deanna was pronounced dead. Even with earlier medical intervention, it was unlikely that she would have survived the stab wound that had punctured her heart. The stabbing had been so quick and unexpected that Deanna's friends did not have time to intervene. The police believed that she was stabbed with a T-shaped punch knife, in which the blade pops out between the user's fingers, although no weapon has ever been recovered. With dozens of witnesses to the crime, the police went straight to Katrina and Sabrina's house, where they were both arrested and taken in for questioning. As Katrina was being interviewed, she began acting strangely and slurring her speech. She then collapsed. Katrina was taken by the fire department ambulance to the UCLA Medical Center. She died 3 hours later. An autopsy would later reveal that she had ingested a large quantity of pills in order to end her own life shortly before the police had arrived at her house that day. The case continued to be investigated, and in April the following year it was reported that after talking to 37 witnesses, the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office had filed 2 charges against Sabrina. 1 count of battery, relating to allegations that she had kicked Deanna on the night of the party, and 1 count of making a criminal threat on the internet several months later. Rebecca Nublin, the Deputy District Attorney handling the case, said that no further charges would be brought unless significant new information came to light. Despite some reports to the contrary, the investigation had turned up no firm evidence that anyone had held Deanna during the assault. Claims that several college-age boys had formed a line to keep Deanna's friends from breaking up the fight were also not substantiated by the police. Some witnesses said that Deanna pleaded with Katrina to stop punching her, shouting that she wanted to tell her side of the story. Deanna's mother would later state that she had been told by partygoers that at least one other girl had held Deanna in a chokehold while she was attacked, and many others had watched, stating that, "My daughter died as entertainment. It was a spectator sport." In May 2002, Katrina's parents filed a wrongful death suit against the Los Angeles Police Department, alleging that detectives contributed to Katrina's death after they failed to seek medical help immediately after she collapsed whilst in their custody. They said that Katrina had been taken into custody at about 1:55 p.m, arrived at the police station no later than 2:15 p.m, and had collapsed no later than 2:30 p.m. The officers tried to revive Katrina and asked Sabrina, who was handcuffed nearby, how long her sister's seizures usually lasted. Sabrina responded that her sister did not have seizures and begged the detectives to get medical help. Her parents went on to claim that when the paramedics arrived, they were told to wait while the detectives finished their paperwork in connection with the case. Katrina was put into the ambulance at 3:05 p.m, arriving at UCLA Medical Center at 3:15 p.m. She was then pronounced dead just after 5:30 p.m. The results of this wrongful death suit are unknown. The same month, Deanna's parents filed a wrongful death suit against Katrina's parents, her stepfather, and Sabrina, as well as Shelley and Barbara Hendler, the owners of the house where the party was held. The complaint alleged that the Hendlers failed to adequately supervise the activities of their children and to ensure that their home was used in a safe manner. It also stated that Katrina's parents failed to properly supervise her despite a history of emotional instability and violent behaviour, and then went on to claim that Sabrina had conspired with Katrina to dispose of the murder weapon that was never found. The case against the Hendlers was dismissed. Deanna's parents' case against Katrina's mother was settled out of court for $300,000, whilst the case against Katrina's father was thrown out on the basis that he had no opportunity to control his daughter's behaviour on the night of the 17th of November 2001. The charges against Sabrina led to her being sentenced to 100 hours of community service and ordered to pay $100 in reparations. Within the space of 24 hours, 2 sets of parents had both lost their teenage daughters. What started out as a normal Saturday would end with 2 families in mourning, with their lives never to be the same again. Katrina's behavioural issues and rage were never successfully addressed, with catastrophic results for all of those involved. So that concludes today's video. Thanks for watching. Please add any comments down below and click thumbs up. If you like my content, please consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thecrimereel. There is a link in the description below. So petty crime time now. Nancy from New York City has sent in 2 of her pets, Bangle, who's 2 years old, and Little Scamp, who's 4 months old. They're guilty of chasing each other all over Nancy's apartment, knocking over lamps, and on one occasion they managed to knock over a 3-gallon water filter. They also go into Nancy's closet and attack all the clothes. Both cats enjoy attacking Nancy's feet as well. When they were first put together they didn't get along so well, but after 9 days of hissing, they are now the best of friends and wrestling buddies. And if you're wondering who the 3rd cat is, that's Francesca, 17-year-old lady. Okay, after this we've got Midgie, who I believe lives in New York State. This definitely has a different outlook from where Nancy lives. Midgie is really well known for rescuing many cats, but now she's just sent in what she calls her yard pets. The crows respond to being called and cawed at. They enjoy bread, pasta and meat, and they like to see how much they can put in their mouths in one go, and also from time to time they get a visit from some white-tailed deer and occasionally a buck. Thanks Midgie for sending them in. So thanks ever so much for listening to The Crime Reel. Stay safe. Goodbye. Psst. After the death of Deanna, the Deanna Maran Foundation was set up. You can find out more details at maranfoundation.com, and there will be a link in the sources below. Goodbye.